going to be doing is not a hiking video or gear video, but I'm going to be doing a video response video to one of Syntax 77's videos. His last video that he posted was disasters, backpacking mistakes, and bad experiences. So I'm going to tell you guys one of my bad backpacking experiences. Well, it was actually canyoneering. So it's a great topic, Syntax. I was actually just gonna reply to your video, but instead of just typing a bunch of mumble jumble, I figured this would be a good opportunity to make a video response video. And I thought it was a great idea. It'd be cool if other people could do it too. And it's it's great because you learn from your mistakes, just like I learned from my mistake. And so we'll go into the story here. So this happened when we first moved out to Colorado. It was in April, I believe. Yeah, it was in April, like the end of April. We were going over to Escalante, Utah, which is in the middle of Utah, and we're in the middle of the desert. And so one of my buddies, his good friends from Salt Lake City, he met us in Utah. And so basically we had a whole trip planned out that we were gonna be canyoneering at in Neon Canyon and then drop through the rappel down into the Golden Cathedral, which I'll add little clips through this video so you guys aren't just staring at me the whole time. So basically the story starts off, we're in Escalante. This is going to be a 3-day backpacking trip. Well, backpacking and canyoneering. So we hike in through Neon Canyon, or not Neon Canyon, we hike to Neon Canyon, which we got lost first off getting there. Just to get down to our camp spot near the river, it was so difficult to find because there wasn't really a well-defined trail. So we're kind of looking at a topography map, trying to find the best spot that didn't have the biggest drop, because there's 4 of us guys, 2 of us girls, and Barkley was with us too. So we ended up making it down into camp at night, it was probably 11:30 that night. And then so the next day we had planned to wake up about 7:30 to head into Neon Canyon, which was about a 3-4 mile hike to get to the spot that we needed to rappel into the canyon. But we got lost just trying to get there. So we figured we'll just sleep in till 11:30, 12 o'clock ish, and then we'll go to Neon Canyon. So it's about 11:30. All of us guys, there's 4 of us guys, and we get all of our gear and we start hiking through a river and up onto Neon Canyon. So we're up on the ridge there, and the slot canyon's down here, which we're eventually going to make it down into. And we're hiking along the ridge, and we're thinking it's going to take us an hour to get to the end where you can rappel in, because most of the spots where you are rappelling into, it's just way too high. It's it was probably like 150 to 200 foot drops, and our rope could only reach about 95, 100 feet. And I'm by no means an experienced climber, and this is my first canyoneering trip, so I didn't know what to expect, and it was crazy. It was awesome. So we're hiking along the ridge there to get in, and we cannot find a spot to rappel down into the canyon. And it is hot out. I mean, we're in the desert in the daytime. It's probably 2:30, 3 o'clock ish, and we're just roasting up there. And we're starting to kind of run out of water. One of the guys was starting to get some signs of dehydration. I mean, all of us were actually. We're just starting to get real goofy and loopy. And so we really knew we had to get down into the canyon because it was getting hot up there and it was getting dangerous. So we finally make it into the canyon about 5:30 at night. And we first off, in the beginning of this trip, we thought going through the Neon Canyon, rappelling in, going through the slot canyons, we thought this was going to take us 3-4 hours at max. but we had no idea. And Neon Canyon is a very high rated canyoneering. I'm not sure the rating scale, but it's rated pretty difficult. And I didn't know that at the time. So we get into the canyon, finally drop into the water, and gosh, jumping into the water, just all of us felt so much better, just like that. So we're down and we dropped down in, and we had to put all of our wetsuits on, gear up, get our gear back on, and so we're dropping down into the slot canyons, chimneying down into the slots, swimming. I'll show it on the video, of course. And it's probably about 8 o'clock at night, and all of us realized that none of us brought headlamps, and we were talking about it before we left camp, our base camp. We were talking about it. We're like, should we bring headlamps? We're like, it's only going to take us 3-4 hours at max. We'll be back at camp at 3:30, 4 o'clock-ish. And so the sun drops, none of us have headlamps, and we're down in this slot canyon, which is dangerous, first off, but it's even more dangerous without headlamps. Just because we had no idea where we're going, and when you're chimneying down into these little slots, you're chimneying down into water, but you don't really, when it's dark, you can't tell how far down the drop is. There's some spots where we have to get our climbing rope out and rappel down in, because it's 20-30 feet down into another slot canyon. So there was a point where we found we could kind of see water down below, and we would throw a rock, and it looked like it was 40 feet, but it was literally 3 feet deep from where we had a chimney down into. So that was kind of scary, just because at the end of this slot canyon, we knew that the only way to get out of this slot canyon is to rappel. It's like an 80 or 90 foot drop down into it's called the Golden Cathedral, and we knew there was that 80 or 90 foot drop at the end, so we're being cautious every little step we're making, because we don't want to fall 80 or 90 feet. And so finally we get to this end, this one spot. None of us had headlamps. Luckily, one of the guys had his phone, so we kind of used the light from the phone to hook up all of our rappelling gear. But we noticed when we got to this one spot, we kind of got down into this other little slot, and these are holes 5 feet tall by 4 feet, so you got your pack on, your wetsuit, and you're just freezing, and we're all getting in there, and you could feel the wind rushing out, and I was like, all right, this is the Golden Cathedral, this is where we have to rappel. We did notice there was some webbing that was attached there from previous climbers, and webbing, if you're not familiar with climbing, that's where you hook your rope onto this webbing. So we knew there was a 20-foot piece of webbing, and we knew, we're like, all right, this is the Golden Cathedral. So it was just scary, the whole experience. It's probably 11 o'clock at night by now when we got to this spot, and two of the guys are just couldn't stop shaking, because we have our wetsuits on, we're cold, this water is probably low 50s, and for a second, before we even got to the end, we thought that we were going to have to sleep in the canyon there. And we did have a lighter. One of the guys had an emergency blanket, which at one point we were all huddled together because we were so cold, and kind of thinking, what should we do? Should we rappel this 90-foot drop at night, or should we stay up here, try to make a fire, and sleep? So we all decided that we're gonna try to rappel down, and it was crazy. All of us kept our cool. We all knew what we had to do, and so the guy like I said, had his phone and shining on us. We're all hooking up to our harnesses and everything, and one by one we would rappel down, and we all made it down. I was the last guy to go down, and it was amazing. It was such an amazing feeling. It's probably 11:30 at night by now, and I'm rappelling out of this hole up in the ceiling, this 90-foot drop, rappelling out of it, and I just stopped in midair on the rappel, and I'm just dangling there, just looking around, looking how beautiful it was. There was like a half a moon, stars were out, and we're rappelling down into more water down there, and just the moon was reflecting off the water. It was an unreal experience, and we all got down to the bottom, and we were all just so happy, and it was, I'd say by far one of our favorite / scary experiences backpacking or canyoneering. But we were so thankful for the moon because none of us had headlamps, like I said, which I'm pretty sure all of us are going to carry a headlamp on every day hike, backpacking trip now from this experience. But we were so thankful for the moon because with how the canyons were, they're super thin, and the canyons go up about 90 to 150 feet depending on where you're at, and the moon was directly above us. It wasn't a half moon, it was almost a half. So just the ambiance of the moon was shining into the canyon, and I mean, if it was like 30 degrees to the right or 5 degrees to the left, the moon wouldn't have helped us out. So we were just so thankful for having the moon. It was unreal. So we're all at the bottom, and we're freezing, and we did luckily have our dry sacks, which we had our all of us had like puffy jackets and our dry gear in this. So we just take our wetsuits off, put our dry gear on, and just felt so warm and exhausted, excited, just all these emotions. And then we had to hike back to our campsite, which was, I don't know, it was probably a mile or two, but luckily we had that moon and we could kind of follow the trail, and we're walking back through the river. But it was scary for the girls because my girlfriend and her friend, they were back at base camp. They were hanging out there all day, just relaxing. And we had no way to contact them. We have cell phones, but you have no reception down in the slot canyons. So we couldn't call them and say, hey, we're okay. And here they thought that we're going to be back at camp at 4 or 5 in the afternoon, but we didn't show back at camp till I think 12:30 that night. And it was, God, what an experience it was. So what I learned from that experience was always bring a headlamp. But yeah, what an experience it was. That was by far one of the coolest experiences I've ever had. Outdoors, backpacking, hiking, or anything like that. And, it was scary, but all of us had our heads on straight, and we just kept going forward, and we were talking and, staying cool. So, that was probably the best thing to do. And, we were kind of just joking about things, but I think all deep down inside, we were all kind of scared. But we were just trying to kind of phase that out, try not to think about, what if we get stuck in here. So yeah, that's my story, guys. Haven't seen the video of the canyoneering trip, check out the link below in my description and check it out. It's about 30 minutes, so if you get bored, fast forward it. But yeah, I really enjoyed the video and making it, so hope you guys enjoy it. Hope it didn't bore you. And Syntax77, thank you for coming up. Well, I guess the other guy that commented on your Facebook came up with a good idea, but thanks for posting the video. And yeah, thanks everyone for watching. I will see you guys next time. Get outdoors and explore and bring your headlamp.